Good day, everybody. Jerry Jans, Agriculture Resource Specialist with Beaver Watershed Alliance. I'm here today basically to introduce myself and kind of take everybody on a pasture walk. So a little history about this pasture walk is this less than 1 acre, I think it's like 0.85 or 0.9 acres, sits like a boot heel, or I mean a boot or an L shape, very narrow for about half its length, and then kind of expands out. Southern exposure, pretty much of a good lean or a drainage to the south as well. The first thing is just what's right in front of us is Bermuda grass. This is a really small spot here that's just got a southern exposure. It's protected from the north winds, and this is common Bermuda grass, I think. It could be Tifton 99, but I think it's common Bermuda grass. So today is December 30th, 2021, and we're looking at Bermuda grass that still is green. It's really, really uncommon. So the entire winter for 2021 has been this way. For Bermuda grass to still have some color to it is really amazing. I've got some pictures and maybe should have done this video a couple of weeks ago, but before Christmas, this entire little patch about the size of a mid-sized car or two was completely green. And so it's going dormant, as it should have 60 days ago on our normal year. But anyway, kind of surprising. So as we go on this little pasture walk, some history behind this little bitty less than 1 acre turnout paddock. It was for horses that were stalled and then turned out, and Dallas grass, and that took about a decade for them to just beat this piece of ground to dirt. The soil was bare everywhere, and it was so bad that there was actually gravel exposed. Here in extreme southwest Washington County, it's not uncommon for soils to be heavily clayed, huge deposits of sandstone, limestone outcroppings, really thin, small marginal soils, and they can be really productive if they're managed right, and they can be horribly devastated by mismanagement because there's just not a lot to work with. Oh, looky there. Well, that's a good sign. Put that back right there. I don't know, that probably blew out of a tree. I don't think that was a ground nesting bird, but wow, what a cool find. Anyway, so this pasture was just dirt for 8 months out of the year because of the equine prevalence that was just in here. They were turned out, and this was their run out lot to go stand in the shade or run a buck and play. And what happened over time was the soil erosion and the constant habit of a horse to just devour everything that sticks its growth up far enough for them to bite it off. They just did. So this was a dirt lot on a slope like this, and the landowner, their only option that they thought they had was to bring in topsoil and, redress it and clean it up and drill and plant seed and try to grow something. So what we did was we put it under holistic grazing or adaptive grazing, and we use cattle. The horses are gone and moved them off. And we put it under adaptive grazing with cattle. And what happened was the use of that created the opportunity for rest and time. So we put stocking densities in here, depending upon the time of year and what we were trying to achieve, anywhere from 20 to 30,000 pounds at the low end to 100,000 plus at the top end. And so 3 years ago, picture this as a dirt lot, and no fertilizers, no herbicides, we didn't do anything except unroll hay and put livestock on it. So here's an example of a place where there's been a little bit more soil that was held and not redeposited or moved. Don't know why. I mean, it varies all the way across this, but look down here at the thatch that's in the soil, that's protecting that. It's guarding it from drought. It's keeping the soil warm. And so the cows will come in here. There's some clover growing in here. See right there? So there's some clover growing in here. There's orchard grass. There's Dallas grass that's dormant, of course. There's Bermuda grass that's dormant. I don't see any Italian ryegrass, which is, there's forbs. See, here's a spot that is it's still devastated. Right, there's nothing there. You can kind of see the trail right there. So here's a spot that we still need to do some work here. That hasn't recovered. There's no topsoil there. So we're building topsoil other places. And we do that by bringing the cattle in at a stocking density that will produce the result we're after. And that could be orchard grass. That could be that we want to move the cattle across the landscape and have them graze it and get them off of there. It could be that we want to strip graze or kind of bale graze this and have the cattle deposit manure and urine at a rate that will produce an effect that we're looking for. And it could be that we just leave it alone and let it mature and give the grass time to develop deeper roots, and then come in, and we're not worried about the consumption or uptake that the cattle can have from the forage, but rather have them trample it, put it in the ground for organic matter to improve carbon input and soil fertility and thatch, and feed the microorganisms that are eventually going to make this better. So kind of depends, and that's why they call it adaptive or holistic grazing. So it depends upon what effect you want to have when you need to have that effect. So again, look out across here. It's not too bad. It varies across the field. Here's another spot. Not much going on here. There's some clover trying to grow up through there, but there's a bare spot right here that, for whatever reason, the erosion occurred at a higher rate. There is no soil here. There's no soil activity right here. And that's the reason it's naked and bare. So we're going to continue to try to fix this. Imagine this right here show you my hand. Imagine this right here across this entire landscape. And the density wasn't even there. So erosion was just prolific. So made a huge improvement in about 3 years. Huge improvement with no inputs except giving this time to rest and putting enough animals on it to produce manure and urine and unrolling hay. And we've got some decent grass in places. This was grazed about 45-50 days ago. So this stuff is coming from the seed bank. It's coming from the hay that we fed. And we're actually seeing grass species that we hadn't seen before, that I think are coming from the seed bank. So, don't know what this guy is. He's still holding on to his seeds. So, it's not the ultimate thing, the grazing profile that a grazer wants to have. But if you understood what this looked like before the landowner made this change and thought about a different philosophy of grazing management, you'd be really impressed. So the cows are going to come in here. We're gonna stack them up depending upon weather conditions. We got a cold front coming in. It's going to be really cold, and we'll see what we let them eat and what we don't, and how long they're going to be here and how long they're not, and then we'll move them and do something else. So Jerry Jens, Agriculture Resource Specialist for Beaver Watershed Alliance, and hope everybody has a great New Year.